With the long-awaited title reveal of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and the first official demos, we finally realize how much the Zelda franchise has evolved and broken conventions over the last few years. However, how did we get here from the linear and bound Skyward Sword, and why is the development of this game so different from any past installments? It all began with the reveal of the Wii U console at E3 2011. The year marked the 25th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda and bore witness to the greatest opening segment in E3 history with the Symphony of the Goddess. E3 2011 was the show that would conclude Nintendo's Golden Wii generation with the final demo of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, the release of Ocarina of Time 3D, and reveal of their next generation of console gaming, the Wii U. Among many things Nintendo showcased in its Wii U hands-on at E3 was a tech demo of what a Zelda game on this new console could look like to demonstrate the power of the full HD console.
The Zelda HD experience gave attendees a taste of the dual analog camera controls and the dual screen experience offered by the Wii U gamepad by setting them in an impressive and highly detailed dungeon, featuring a boss battle between a realistically depicted Link and Armagoma. Nevertheless, the dream of a realistic HD Zelda would never be anything more than a tech demo. Since this year was all about Skyward Sword, and the year was about to reach its culminating point with the release of the highly anticipated title, which was an installment that had been developed by Nintendo EAD3 since 2008, this was supposed to further cement the domination of the franchise and prove that motion controls had a future in the gaming industry.
On a fully Wii Motion Plus controlled Zelda game would divide and alienate the Zelda fanbase, as the title had an additional massive weak point. Its restricted design led to some of the most bound areas or levels in Zelda history. This stood in stark contrast to Bethesda Game Studios' smash hit, the completely seamless and open The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, which stole the headlines that fall. Despite one of, if not the greatest story in the series, Nintendo had for the first time in the long history been challenged and outsold with a large margin by a game that would forever change the RPG genre. Skyrim outsold Skyward Sword by a measure of 5-1. Worse, Skyward Sword would become the second worst selling 3D Zelda game.
The 25th anniversary met an unpleasant ending, and something had to be done to prevent the next console Zelda installment from falling into the same trap. This is why the director for the next console Zelda game and series producer Eiji Aonuma must have decided at some point to play Skyrim to see what was the great appeal of that game: the freedom of exploring a massive, boundless world. Skyrim. Obviously I play other games and I'm curious what Zelda fans like about the Skyrim experience. Maybe there are some Zelda fans who are looking for something similar out of a Zelda game. I don't look at what's happening in the game, but how it made me feel, what in the game moved me, and how I can bring out those same emotions in players who play my games. My intent isn't to copy them, but those are the things that stay with you as a player. Upon this experience, Mr. Aonuma must have realized that the Zelda experience had become too linear, bound, and story-driven. Subsequently, he must have decided that in order to bring Zelda back to its golden days, he would have to challenge established conventions of the bound 3D Zelda games and hand back control to the player by seeking back to the franchise's roots of non-linear gameplay and see how he could enhance this premise.
With these ideas as foundation, the development of a new and groundbreaking Zelda title for Nintendo's next console, the Wii U, was initiated, and with it, the greatest transition in the franchise's history since the move from the two-dimensional A Link to the Past to the three-dimensional Ocarina of Time had become a fact. Fast forward 6 months to June 2012 and Nintendo's last at this point E3 stage press conference, where among many things Nintendo presented Nintendo Land for the Wii U, which included the Zelda minigame Battle Quest.
This demo would for the first time give us a taste of the motion controls and dual screen functions on the console, and heavily utilised both the Wii U gamepad for archery and the Wii Motion Plus controller for sword combat. Things then went silent until series producer Eiji Aonuma announced during a Wii U dedicated Nintendo Direct in January 2013 that the next Zelda for Wii U would challenge two key established conventions. playing dungeons in a set order and playing by yourself. It was clear that Nintendo was preparing for a return to the series' cradle, The Legend of Zelda, and create a 3D world that is as immersive, mysterious, and boundless as the NES classic was in 2D. He admitted that there was still a lot of work to do on the game, and as a replacement announced the HD restoration of The Wind Waker.
This brings us over to the consecutive line of remakes and spin-off games that have been released across the development cycle of Zelda Wii U. The pilots Ocarina of Time 3D and Wind Waker HD would outline how the dual-screen capabilities of Nintendo's new systems and built-in gyroscope controls would be implemented in Zelda Wii U. Today we can safely state that the remake of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess heavily influenced the development and controls of Zelda Wii U. Traces from the remakes can be found on the game map, taking advantage of the built-in gyroscope for aiming the bow, grappling hook, and hookshot double claw shot, and finally the open and seamless world itself. But Wind Waker HD wasn't the only game that has been developed alongside Zelda Wii U, since half a year later during Nintendo's E3 Direct, the sequel to A Link to the Past, A Link Between Worlds, was revealed. This game took a step away from its predecessor and threw the linear dungeon progression right out the window, by giving you the option to borrow close to the entire arsenal in the game from the first dungeon. This marked for the first unlinear Zelda experience in decades, a premise that Zelda Wii U NX will build upon.
After the massive Zelda blowout in 2013, Nintendo concluded the year in December by announcing Hyrule Warriors. Though not an official entry in the Zelda timeline, this spin-off was groundbreaking for bringing in a voice narrator and different types of cutscenes. Then, at the E3 2014 digital event, Nintendo finally pulled off the curtain and revealed the new world of Zelda.
This is the new world of Zelda.
It became immediately clear that this title would blend the art styles of the impressionistic Skyward Sword and the cel-shaded Wind Waker. Like the first Zelda, be set in a vast, living and seamless open world, and builds on the legacy of Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess by bringing back Hyrule, and our favourite companion, Epona. It did as well hint the return of the timeshift technology found in Skyward Sword, by introduction of the energy arrow and a massive energy-spewing monster.
Nonetheless, unlike other 3D Zelda games, this massive mini-boss was not found in a dungeon, but rather in the open fields of what seemed to be a much bigger Hyrule. The short tease ended with the release year, 2015. Pfft, yeah right. A short storm about Link's gender followed, and though Eiji Aonuma quickly dismissed the notion of Link being a girl, this did not change the fact that Link's characteristic green heroic tunic was missing and replaced by a blue tunic resembling the shirt worn by Link on Wind Waker's Outset Island. The level of hype generated was immense, and the close to flawless reveal of Zelda for Wii U secured Nintendo the best presentation of that year's E3. The Big N had done it again.
But the year was still young, and after a solid reception for Hyrule Warriors in September, Nintendo dropped the bomb during the next Nintendo Direct that they had been working on a remake of Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 3DS since the release of Ocarina of Time 3D in 2011. The announcement of the remaster of this timeless classic made us realize two things.
Zelda as a franchise is in a state of transformation, and the number of remakes in Hyrule Warriors served as an important part of this process. In other words, to find the right path for the next Zelda installment, Eiji Aonuma ordered the remakes of some of the most influential games in the series. Not for the sake of remaking them, but to learn from them and take elements they could implement in the development process.
The Game Awards 2014 marked the conclusion for an incredible year for Nintendo. However, it wasn't the award to Nintendo as Developer of the Year that stole the show, but the world premiere of the first ever gameplay of Zelda Wii U.
Nevertheless, what surprised the most was that Eiji Aonuma and Shigeru Miyamoto were gracious, showing off the entirety of the massive and detailed world map of Hyrule and explained in detail how it would appear and function on the Wii U gamepad by zooming in and out of specific areas.
Aonuma even went to the length in a later interview to compare the world map on the gamepad to the experience he had when navigating through the map on his smartphone. It would turn out that the map was far from it, as a magic meter and sailcloth were confirmed, and we received demonstration of horseback combat and travel, and how the implementation of gyroscope the slow motion arrow time effect teased at E3 would function.
The presentation was a blowout of information and caused a massive wave of speculation surrounding the game for months. But it also raised a question. Is Zelda Wii U a reimagination of the original Legend of Zelda on the NES?
We sure this will be released next year.
Yes. All of the staff members are working together and doing their best.
Well, let's just say that did not occur.
Majora's Mask 3D was released to critical acclaim in February 2015, improving on a number of flaws found in the original N64 version, such as the Bomber's Notebook or the save system. Nevertheless, the joy was however short-lived, since the following month, series producer Eiji Aonuma posted on Facebook a development update video.
In the last 3 months, as the team has experienced firsthand the freedom of exploring that hasn't existed in any Zelda games to date, we have discovered several new possibilities for this game. As we have worked to turn these possibilities into reality, new ideas have sprung forth, and we now have the potential to exceed even my own expectations. I feel strongly that our focus should be to bring all of these ideas to life in a way that will make Zelda on the Wii U the best game it can possibly be. So I must apologize, but we are no longer making a 2015 release our #1 priority. Instead, our priority is to make the most complete and ultimate Zelda game.
Satoru Iwata announced a strategy for mobile gaming, and that Nintendo was working on a new dedicated gaming platform, the codename NX. The news spread like fire. Could it really be true that Nintendo was turning their back to the underperforming Wii U and looking for a solution to pull its plug only 4 years after release? After an initial uproar among Wii U owners, Nintendo of America's Reggie Fils-Aimé addressed the matter during their E3 2015 digital event, stating that more information on the system would be shared in 2016.
Zelda Wii U would not be present at E3 2015. Instead, Triforce Heroes, the first true online Zelda experience, was revealed, and Reggie Fils-Aimé hinted that they had more Zelda Wii U footage to share later that year.
The chief executive of the Japanese video games company Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, has died. He was 55 and had been treated for cancer.
The tragic passing of Satoru Iwata in July and the appointment of Tatsumi Kimishima as his temporary successor further delayed any Nintendo announcements until November, when Twilight Princess HD was revealed.
With it, we got another peek into the world of Zelda Wii U, and got to know that the Wolf Link amiibo would be compatible with Zelda Wii U. Interestingly enough, in this teaser, Link had a different tunic depicting the Master Sword, a giant sword, a different shield and bow. Furthermore, the Sheikah connection was confirmed, as Link has a glowing tablet or book with the Sheikah tearing eye on its cover.
The 13-second long teaser ended with a confirmation that the game was scheduled for 2016. Nevertheless, this release year was not meant to last for long, since after Nintendo completely ignored Zelda's 30th anniversary in February, Twilight Princess HD was released in March to critical acclaim. Similarly to the Wind Waker HD, this remaster included a number of gameplay improvements and a successful implementation of the Wii U gamepad, with solid gyroscope controls in addition to convenient map and inventory functions through the second screen. Interestingly enough, in the development miniseries building up to the release of Twilight Princess HD, and later an interview for the Japanese game magazine Famitsu, series producer Mr. Eiji Aonuma shared some information about Twilight Princess HD and its alleged connection to the next Legend of Zelda.
When we did Skyward Sword for the Wii, at the end stages of development, I was in charge of the character's dialogue and the in-game text. And now as well, it's like it was then. I had to work on text today too. But the game has really taken shape, and things have gotten easier. That means things are progressing well. I think the base of our secret sauce has always been Ocarina of Time, but this time, the change in flavour will be like going from Japanese food to Western style food. Perhaps players will be surprised. Please look forward to it, because I think we'll be able to make something new like Ocarina of Time was.
While making the latest title for The Legend of Zelda, when I look at this remake, I feel like this is the origin point of the new title we are making right now. After playing this game, you might have some "oh, I see" moments when playing the new game. I'll be glad if you play Twilight Princess HD while waiting in anticipation for the latest title of The Legend of Zelda.
This was followed up by a comment on the Wolflink amiibo. It's not the save data itself, but part of the data saved in the Wolflink amiibo that can be brought over and used in the new title too. For some people, when they play the new title, they might feel the urge to play Twilight Princess HD once more.
However, the joy was once again short-lived, as Nintendo's quarterly financial briefing in April was a mixed bag of good, bad, and ugly. The good news was that we finally received an official concept art of Link, a confirmation that Nintendo's next system, the codenamed NX, comes out in March 2017, and that Zelda would be on the system. The bad was that Zelda was, for a second time, delayed to 2017, and the ugly was that this delay was by all records and caused by the fact that the next Zelda would be simultaneously released both on the Wii U and the NX in time for the official launch of the new system in March 2017.
Though originally scheduled for 2016, the release of the latest The Legend of Zelda title is postponed until 2017 to allow further improvement of quality. In return, it appears that Nintendo is going all Bethesda this E3 with Zelda Wii U. Quote, "This June, Nintendo will focus its attentions on the upcoming game in the Legend of Zelda series. The Wii U version of the game will be playable for the first time on the E3 show floor, and it will be the only playable game Nintendo presents at the show in order to provide attendees a complete immersion. Nintendo's E3 booth will be transformed to immerse attendees in the world of Zelda Wii U, which will be for the first time playable at the show floor."
1 week prior to E3 on June 8, 2016, Nintendo posted their last tease for the great Zelda reveal, a new concept art of a triumphant Link with a steel sword in his hand on the new Epona. E3 2016 was nothing but an unreal adventure. The expectations were sky high, and Nintendo did not disappoint. After a short introduction and moment of remembrance by COO Reggie Fils-Aimé, we finally got the awaited first proper World of Hyrule trailer, the reveal of the official title, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and the first Treehouse playthrough of the game. In the first act of the Treehouse playthrough series, producer Mr. Eiji Aonuma was asked about the inspiration behind the name, and said that unlike previous Zelda games, it was influenced by the big game changer in this installment, namely the massive open world of Hyrule. If there was any doubt, then it was quickly shattered when everyone realized that the 2 show floor demos with the entire opening province, the plateau, made up less than 2% of the final game. The first half of the demo was a timed free-roam demonstration of a number of the new mechanics present in the game, such as the new type of mini-dungeons, the Sheikah Shrines, and the runes acquired in these, surprise mini-boss encounters in the overworld including the fearsome mechanical guardians, climbing, wood, cutting, the inclusion of a jump button, a revamped approach to the extensive arsenal of items and breakable weaponry at your disposal, the return of the stamina meter, hunting, cooking, stealth, rolling rocks, bullet time, combo attacks, changing your attire for specific areas, sail and raft, paragliding, our personal favorite shield surfing, and much, much more. Yes, this is a true Zelda sandbox game. If you want, you can even set the whole world on fire since most of the surrounding grass and trees are flammable.
On the other hand, the second demo was purely story-driven and gave a taste of the plot in Breath of the Wild and the confirmation of the limited inclusion of voice acting in the game.
Open your eyes.
After a 100-year-long stasis, Link wakes up in the Sheikah Resurrection Shrine to find a ruined Hyrule, and after the quickest tutorial since the NES era, sends you out with this game's key item, the Sheikah Slate, to explore the introductory area, the plateau, and its key landmark, the Temple of Time, where you, upon meeting the old man and activating the first Resurrection Tower, realise that this world is on the brink of apocalypse due to the sealed Calamity Ganon in Hyrule Castle. And by the way, there are Koroks in this game. The game's map also appears to have changed slightly, but we'll address that on Tuesday. But the best thing about the demo was the confirmation that the Wolflink amiibo from Twilight Princess HD will serve as a key function, bringing Wolflink from the Cave of Shadows as your companion in Breath of the Wild. If that was not enough, Nintendo would bring 3 new amiibos for the release of Breath of the Wild for Wii U and NX, Link in his attack position, Link on Epona, and one of the mysterious Guardians. Nintendo surpassed all expectations with this best game of all time candidate. Luckily, Reggie Fils-Aimé and the development team have promised more news and footage in the coming months. leading to the final release of Breath of the Wild on the Wii U and the codename NX.
And if you liked this video, please like, share, favorite, and most importantly subscribe to Commonwealth Realm for more Zelda and Breath of the Wild. Also, do not forget to subscribe to Zeltik and Macintyre for contributing to this theory. Link to their channels are in the annotations and the description down below.
Until then, this was the Commonwealth Realm, and we'll see you girls and guys soon.